An organization in power, but besieged by the sins of incumbency, declining electoral fortunes, and a battered public image. Former ANC presidents Nelson Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, and Jacob Zuma all spoke about ANC leaders and members plundering the resources of the state for their own personal gain. At the 2007 Polokwane Conference, then outgoing ANC President Thabo Mbeki put these questions to conference.
The 52nd National Conference will have to ask itself a very direct question and answer this question honestly and frankly. Is the ANC capable of discharging its responsibilities to the masses of our people, the peoples of Africa and the rest of the world during this critical phase of our national democratic revolution? It will have to ask itself a very direct question and answer it honestly and frankly. Will our movement increase its popular support during the 2009 general elections, as we increased our support in each general election since our first democratic elections in 1994? Does the ANC have the will and capacity to lead our country and people over the next 5 years in a manner that will enable the nation to celebrate our centenary in 2012 together, paying heartfelt tribute to our movement?
15 years later, the party seems to be in a far worse state, with factions entrenched and facing an existential crisis, on the verge of losing electoral power due to the failure to self-correct.
Certain negative and completely unacceptable tendencies have emerged within our movement, which threaten the very survival of the ANC as a trusted servant of the people it has been for 96 years. The organizational report of our Secretary General will indicate some of these negative and unacceptable tendencies, which stand in direct opposition to everything the ANC represents, including its value system, its revolutionary morality, its selflessness, the comradeship among its members, its deep-seated respect for the truth and honesty, its determined opposition to deceit and double-dealing, and its readiness openly to account to the masses of our people for everything it says and does.
Incumbent ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is seeking re-election, said the party stood as accused number one in terms of corruption and malfeasance involving public funds. Ramaphosa now also faces his own scandal related to alleged abuse of power, with an independent panel report finding he may have broken his oath of office. In his closing address at the 2017 conference, he told delegates that South Africans had seen the worst and the best of the ANC.
In recent times, we have seen the ANC at its worst. We have seen an organization that is divided against itself. And yet we have also seen glimpses of the ANC at its best. Over the last few days, we have seen the ANC that we know, the ANC that we love, in conference, working together, discussing issues in the most robust manner. And as we looked, we said, this is the ANC that we know and the ANC we love.
The worst of the ANC could be dubbed as the wasted 9 years, with former President Jacob Zuma at the helm of the ANC and party. Years that would be described as the era of state capture, corruption and money laundering. Ramaphosa called for the era of impunity to end and all those involved to be exposed.
Corruption has to be brought to a stop, and it must happen with immediate effect. We must also act fearlessly against alleged corruption and abuse of office within our own ranks.
In terms of policy perspective, the ANC in 2017 adopted a resolution to expropriate land without compensation, a policy that is yet to be realized or implemented, as the ANC fails to get the required majority in Parliament to amend Section 25 of the Constitution.
Since 1994, we have taken care to manage this very sophisticated and complex economy of South Africa with due care. And even with this decision, we are going to make sure that as it is implemented, we will manage the process of the implementation of this decision properly with due care to the interests of our people as a whole. We say this because we have been the central driver of progress in our country and in our economy over the past 23 years. Our efforts have been aimed at eradicating poverty, inequality, and reducing unemployment. We have placed the challenge of unemployment at the forefront of our actions in the economy. Our focus on education and skills training is beginning to bear fruit. Our social development programs have been aimed at addressing poverty amongst our people. The policies that we have adopted here provide a platform for faster and more meaningful implementation of the National Development Plan.
The ANC has also faced an electoral decline since 2009, while policy uncertainty has also been one of the issues facing the governing party. The South African economy has also not been performing well, with load shedding being the biggest contributor as power utility Eskom fails to ensure energy security. Samkele Masego, SABC News, Johannesburg.